I saw what you were doing there. You tried to get me.
Welcome, everybody.
You tried to get me.
We were trying to bait Kyler into saying something right when we went live.
Talking that Minot talk, except it's ND talk, so it doesn't work. Yeah.
Indie talk.
Yeah, it kind of works.
It kind of works.
Yeah.
Hey, we're here live. It's Thursday, 9 a.m. Joined by Kyler Collom of the Dakotan. It's good to have you.
Hosted by Jonathan Starr of the Dakotan. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely.
It's becoming a common thing where I join you on these.
It is becoming a common thing.
We've got a lot of stuff we're talking about today again.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah. One, you got an update in Surrey.
Yep, we got a couple updates in Surrey. There's a weird article going around.
Well, Amy Dalrymple finally chimed in on this one, so we'll talk about that.
Yep, and then there was a rally that took place last night that we attended and got to see a little bit of. And talk about that. There was we did an interview.
We did an interview yesterday.
Yeah,
there's this huge question going around North Dakota, $740,000 question of how did grant money get where it got. Yeah. And so we're gonna play a clip that we had with somebody that did an investigative piece on it. And we'll talk more about that at that point. So.
Definitely. And then some mayor updates. Talk about the mayoral race, of course. And and then we got a couple little national tidbits for the end, too.
There was something interesting that Senator Hawley from Missouri is working on. And I think it's if it goes somewhere, it's going to be actually quite interesting. Yeah.
Hawley has a tendency to grandstand, but I think this is a legitimate thing that if this happens, this would be great.
There's two things that he's introduced in like the last 2 weeks that have been fantastic. Yeah. One of them is this. Do you know what the other one is?
What's the other one?
Refund checks.
I heard about that. We'll talk about this later. We will talk about that at a later time. So where do you want to start? Should we start with Surrey?
Let's do it.
Let's start in Surrey. So big news. They did officially hire a new principal out at Surrey. It is Kay Meyer. She is already taking over, going to be starting up in Surrey. So they got a new principal. That's a plus after the former one, Tina Webb, left, saying some issues with the superintendent, David Girding. His wife, Sheila, and him have both now left as well, Sheila being the athletic director. Sounds like it was getting to be not the greatest environment out there, regardless of cause or effect, but lo and behold, now it's finally settling down with school starting there on the 12th of August. So it's only a couple weeks away.
It seems like it may have been a long time coming. And this may just be the initial things to get things kind of corrected over there. Yeah,
it kind of feels like it. Like back in high school, I mean, we all had Girding as a principal back in the day. So if you were there, we all heard the rumors going around. But there is another interesting thing that's come out. There was an article that was posted on Newsbreak yesterday or the day prior, and it was by Amy Dalrymple, who's the editor of the ND Monitor, which has become pretty prominent in the last 2 years here. And it had a lot of false things in it.
So we're like, Amy, we thought you were better than this.
And then Amy comes out and says, hey, that's not me.
That's not
an AI impersonator. And I actually, Charles Crane with the Minot Daily is the one who I saw this from initially, where this was posted.
His Facebook page is a good follow.
Yeah, it is. He has a lot of good updates on there. And I was shocked because you read through the story and it's like there was a mob of Surrey parents outside the school after the school board meeting. And like volleyball players, which haven't started practicing yet, were getting interviewed and like,
it's fantastic.
Wild trip, yeah.
And so he ran down an article posted on his Facebook page, June 5th, 2024. Reuters wrote, last Christmas Eve, Newsbreak, a free app with roots in China that is the most downloaded news app in the United States, published an alarming piece about a small town shooting. It was headlined, Christmas Day Tragedy Strikes Bridgeton, New Jersey amid rising gun violence in small towns. The problem was no such shooting took place. The Bridgeton, New Jersey Police Department posted a statement on Facebook on December 27th, dismissing the article produced using AI technology as entirely false. And as you read this article, you find that this is actually a pattern that has come. There's ex-employees of Newsbreak that have said that the algorithm is created a lot in the Beijing and Shanghai offices. That's where most of the development work is done. Really is an interesting thing. And of course, you can spin conspiracy theories as conspiracy
However we
theories
want
off
off
of
of
that
that.
pretty fast, pretty quick.
And I think, well, just if anyone's not familiar with Newsbreak, it's an app or a site you can go sign up, download, whatever it might be. And it takes all of the news in your area, national, local, and it kind of puts it together for you.
It's really a neat idea.
It's a cool concept. Here's what the article looks like. So if you do see this on Newsbreak, don't take it into account. This one is bogus. And generally Newsbreak does a fairly decent job. We've obviously, we kind of dabble in it. We've noticed that it has some interesting tendencies for what it pushes in the algorithm. And
the algorithm is trash.
Yeah.
Well, it's not that it's trash. It's the algorithm is just focused on national headlines.
Yeah. Like things that will go do well for us on the website or on our Facebook page will get no engagement whatsoever on Newsbreak.
Yeah, which almost makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
But so like during just full transparency, we would mess with stuff like this just to see what would happen. During the political race, presidential race, we could go and do a Biden or Trump story, and it would go viral for us. We'd get like tons of engagement,
thousands of likes, comments, and stuff.
And then we'd go and do local stories, and they'd barely get anything. And it's like not that they're getting, like, comparatively, obviously, it's not going to go viral. Local stories not going to go viral, but we're talking about getting 50,000 impressions or more, and then the local story getting under 1,000. It's like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, you're just not showing the local stories is what's going on, because obviously there's people that are interested in content. And then another thing that's really weird about it that we noticed is that we would get stories that would have more likes than views.
Yeah, like it would have 20,000 likes, but the views on it were at
that's random numbers, but yes.
Yeah, complete, just something thrown out there. And then the views would be like 2/3 of that or something. And it didn't make sense on how these numbers correlate all the time.
Right. So it really interesting. And we reached out to them. So here's one: 46 likes, 67 views, 7 comments, and 2 shares. It's just some weird metrics. Like, that's for the amount of views, that's really high engagement.
Yes. Like,
we reached out to them, and they had an answer, but it didn't make much sense to us. But yeah, here's a better example: 301 views, 959 likes.
There you go. That's a legitimate example right there. Real
it's
numbers.
Just crazy.
It's weird stuff with how Newsbreak works. So
another one: 9 views, 111 likes, and 5 comments. It's just crazy.
That's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Analytics barely make sense on those.
So
yeah.
We obviously, if we post anything to the website, it aggregates it automatically to Newsbreak for us. So we are technically on there, but just always be mindful if you are seeing something from there. Make sure it has like either the verified badge or it's coming directly from us.
Right.
If you're looking at us specifically. Otherwise, it's always with a grain of salt with those things.
Absolutely.
But Surrey, moving forward, good news. Can't argue that. We do love to see that.
Do love to see that. That's good. Steps in the right direction. Hopefully that continues to happen.
Yeah. Fun fact. I might be helping coach out there with some junior high football.
Yikes.
I know. I'm going to be very busy. We'll see how it plays out, though. It's going to be fun. Where do you want to go next, though, Jonathan?
Ooh.
I think that wraps up the Surrey conversation. They're getting ready for school now. Things are in place, and they're able to finally transition to a better zone now.
So 2 weeks ago, local film producer in the Bismarck area, local to the Bismarck area film producer, Matt Fern, went and began releasing videos about a 740K question. This isn't the first time we heard of this.
Mm-mm.
This is, there was some...
Originally in the news about 2 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Where basically the Commerce Department went and got a 600K, the biggest one that we heard about was got a 600K grant that they're going to give to a local area, or North Dakota area film group to go and produce a movie, produce something about North Dakota.
Yeah, to both incentivize jobs in North Dakota and attract people hopefully to come to North Dakota via the film.
Well,
either directly or indirectly. It's because it's via the ND Tourism Department.
Yeah. Well, the window for this grant application was very short, and it went to a specific company, and quickly there was outrage among video producers in the area. And so what we're going to do, something a little bit different. We haven't done it to this extent before. We're actually going to show a clip from the interview. It's going to be a little bit longer clip, so enjoy it. It's still us, real conversation, not AI generated. From the conversation that we had with Matt Fern yesterday. And the full podcast is going to be coming out today. And the third part of his series
comes out tomorrow.
And that's going to be the conclusion of it.
Yeah.
So make sure that you stay tuned, or make sure that you follow along that as well. But here's a 7-minute clip about what's going on with this $740,000 question.
There's actually 2 official grants given and 1 payment made through Commerce's advertising agency of record. And the podcast is called The $740,000 Question, and it digs into the $740,000 paid to this one video production company. Was that all legal? And this first came to my attention 2 years ago in 2023 when ND Commerce announced the largest film grant I'd ever seen in state history of $600,000. And they announced that they had awarded it to Bismarck-based Canonical Productions to produce 2 feature-length films. And so at first I was very excited as a film producer, trying to get support from the state. I thought this is an incredible opportunity, and it was called the Motion Picture Production and Recruitment Grants. And from what Commerce told me, the goal was to promote North Dakota. That's why it was administered through tourism, increase tourism, but also through Commerce help recruit professionals and provide opportunities for media professionals, which are very rare here in North Dakota.
Right.
I know you guys, you guys are starting your own news station here on your own. And so anyway, so that first came over $600,000, but then I looked at the website, and there's only one website with information about this. And the qualifications of like who can apply looked as if, from my opinion, were copy and pasted from Canonical Productions website. And then also the grant window was only 6 business days, 10 calendar days. And that was to spend this $600,000, which was a biennium's, 2 years worth of funding, within 6 business days. And that's from the moment they announced it to when it was over. Wow. It wasn't like, all right, we're going to start this in a week and it's 6 days. It's from the moment, hey, this is out there. And so I reached out to every film professional I knew in the state, even those that worked with Canonical Productions, and no one knew anything. Wow. And they were all shocked of like, what is this? This is incredible. And then so just with that information, I started emailing. There was a person named the film program manager on the website where you could apply. And so I emailed him, and I have worked with Commerce before. I'm from North Dakota. I've reached out trying to help, film opportunities and partnerships. Specifically, I helped try to get a website through the Department of Commerce. And so I kind of knew these people, and so I felt comfortable like emailing them, like, what's going on? I really trusted these people. And I reached out, and they said, yeah, this is normal. And this actually is based upon the $100,000 grant we gave out 2 years ago. And I Googled that right away because I had never heard anything about this. Wow. And I said, well, any chance that Canonical got that $100,000 as well? And they said, yeah, actually Canonical got the whole thing. And I said, well, how long was the open bidding process? And they said there was no open bidding process. And so I was confused because I thought everything over $25,000 went through a RFP, request for proposal, or a competitive bidding process. Since this is state funds, this isn't a private investor or a rich uncle. It's government money. And so I was very confused of why that happened. And so then I requested I did an open records request, asking for just more information. And maybe there's more behind the scenes. Maybe, I'm not seeing the whole picture. This isn't my full-time job either.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't work for the government. And so when I got the open records request, it was even more shocking because there was just so little requirements or accountability. in terms of what was required for that $600,000.
Yeah.
Because that $100,000, nothing was required. It just
Wow.
was given to this company.
I think I think that right there's been one of the most surprising parts for me is like the government gave out $600K, and even in different stories that we followed and that we've looked into, the reporting process on it is pretty extensive, and they're willing to shut down operations or their involvement in it if it's not followed. But this seems like it's just, here's $600K, go do with it, and hopefully we have some assets in a couple years or something. It just seems like it's very open-ended. Is that what you've kind of seen?
Yeah, I mean, I made an hour and a half podcast of how
Exactly.
open-ended this is.
Right.
I really could go into it, but so Commerce's whole argument on this and kind of the pushback that we keep getting. I say we because it's not just me, myself, and 26 other filmmakers from around the state have
that has
for 2 years been trying to get some answers.
That has to be the majority of film production in the state of North Dakota at that point. I can't imagine there's too many other producers around the state than what's in your little group there.
From what I know, and there actually are a lot more that are part of our group that just don't feel comfortable putting their name out there because they work with Commerce or the state a lot.
Yeah.
But you'd think Commerce would take this seriously or provide better answers, but they're saying that they gave out this money because there was a legislative footnote added to the bills that directed this funding. And so from my understanding, that's why they're saying it all went there. And the footnote was an added sentence at the bottom of the bill, not near the bill, it's at the bottom on I think even a separate page. I don't know exactly for sure. I haven't looked at it for a while.
Sure.
But it says all of these funds, basically it says all these funds go directly to Canonical Productions. They specifically name a for-profit company to get all these funds. And that's what happened to $600,000. And so that's why they said there was no open bidding process, because they said, well, this is the legislative intent. They've said to do that. And then the $600,000, I was like, well, why did you guys have this bidding process if it said the same thing? And they said, well, we talked to the Attorney General's office, and they advised us to have an open bidding process. But that process, from my perspective, again, it looked like they copy and pasted who can apply from Canonical's website. They only gave 6 days. And Canonical was definitely aware this was coming because when I got the open records request, I was able to kind of see their application, which didn't even have an address on it, didn't have a script, budget, any information, timeline information. It did say everything would be done by June 2025 and released, but that has come and gone and never happened.
There you have it.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a trip there, huh?
So full episode that's coming out later today, but kind of just talk about that for a minute. Obviously, we've had been not forced to, but decided to go down the avenue of looking at some stuff where the Department of Commerce was involved, and it wasn't always a positive light. It seemed like there was some things that seemed questionable. There's a couple articles that you have out about just like
some interesting coincidences that seem to pop up from time to time that have involvement with the Commerce Department.
Involvement with Governor's Office, Commerce Department,
AG, whoever in that kind of area. So one thing he was mentioning was the bidding process seemed flawed. That's something that we've seen in other instances too across the state. You'll have a period to apply for a grant that's has minimal advertising put into it. Apparently, the way it feels and seems. The only way you can find it is through the Department of Commerce's website. If you you have to go pretty much look for their applicable grant programs. On top of that, you have places around the state that when they're applying for it, like this instance, you have a minimal application period. It's 6 business days in this case. It started on a Friday afternoon and it went through that following Friday or that following weekend.
So short.
Yeah. And they argue that, it's a competitive way. It's competitive that way. So everyone has to get it in a certain time, I guess, is kind of the argument there. And I don't know how much I necessarily love that.
Well, he mentions that this is just crazy timeline right here. Mm-hmm. Have you ever filled out an application for a grant? I know you have.
Yes.
Did you how in comparison to the grant deadline, when did you normally get that completed?
I for the one I've done, it was ahead of time, but like you're within that window. You're not submitting it the day that grant opens, and typically the window I was applying for, it was a couple months. Of a window for that, for what we applied.
So you had a couple months, and you might submit it in the second half of that timeline. You might submit it in the second month, maybe maybe a
couple weeks in or something. Right. So if you have to adjust something, you can go back and do it. But like you're not doing it day one. You're not prepared for that.
Exactly.
Generally, I mean, I don't believe.
And they're going. It opens on
a Friday
at 4 p.m. Yep. And by Sunday morning they have it submitted.
Yeah. And also the application process for it as well was incredibly minimal too. It's about a single page application process from how Matt describes it. And it doesn't require any kind of script potential. Essentially doesn't require even a big idea of what you want to film. It doesn't require cast and crew, anything like that. And it doesn't even require an address, which is something that we've seen in the past that clearly is something that can be overlooked pretty easily when companies that list addresses don't even own the lease to that facility. Right. But hey, that's a different story for a different time. And you just see it pop up time and time again, and it just makes you think like, are these... It's a pattern at a point, but is it systematic or is it a regime thing? Because we're sitting in a new regime in the Commerce Department right now. We have Chris Shilkin, who just started this year, and hopefully things can start kind of looking in a different direction. But
Scott Burlingham says, if you're not submitting a grant in the last hours, you are a nerd. And I must agree, Scott. I must agree.
Yeah, the one I did when I was doing some school stuff before lo and behold, we weren't even eligible in the end. But that's neither here nor there. A horrible process. I don't like it. Yeah. I applaud anyone that does grant writing as a career field, because that is not an easy thing to do.
We did one for our church, and there was like a ton of documents that had to be in there, and we got it mailed off like the day it was supposed to be postmarked, or whatever. So, that's how it goes. Yeah. And the thing is part of it is because, writer's block or procrastination, however you want to approach that. But also there's a portion of it where you're like, I want to make sure this is like quality. Yeah. What I'm submitting should be good. Like, I want to get this grant.
I want to win.
Right. Yeah. And so you're going to take a little bit of time to review everything too. Not submit it in one of the first stages. But feels like there was a concern about that. Mm-hmm. Feels like that there was just a feeling that, if we get this in, then we get the money. And sure enough, Canticle got it. This is not a slam at Canticle, to be clear. And that's, I think, something that's really important is sometimes it's like, all right, Canticle, there must be these evil people over there at Canticle Productions that are just doing
nefarious things.
And maybe, that I'm like, there's nothing to show that. There's nothing to prove that. At this point, this is something more along the lines of a pattern that we have seen develop at in the Department of Commerce, where feels like when it comes to money, there's a lot of people that get to be overly involved in these decisions rather than just going by solid requirements across the board and following those requirements.
Yeah, no, you're very, very right at that point. And I just want to see how we can kind of try to wrap this into the bigger issue with commerce at this point too. Like, I just don't, I struggle to wrap my head around how it can have such minimal, or what appears to be minimal, guidelines for something like this. Yeah. And because this is, again, with most grant programs that you're applying for, it is a stringent thing that you have to apply. You need a ton of documentation. And when you have something that applies to just a single page, it's really questionable. And then on top of that, minimal notification to the potential people that could be looking for it.
Right.
And so when you have effectively the entire industry in a small state, which isn't very large in its own right, going into this situation and saying, hey, this isn't fair, this is wrong, it raises a red flag.
Right, yeah.
And I think the bigger point that you didn't see in this interview, but it was mentioned in the second part of his podcast series and also discussed in the full interview that will come out later, it talks about a footnote that was added into the actual legislative bill. Yep. So at some point throughout the legislative cycle in 2023, when this came to fruition, there was a footnote that was added in the bill, effectively specifying Canticle as the sole recipient of it.
Absolutely. So definitely listen to the full podcast. It's going to come out later today. Make sure that you go, we'll be dropping a link down in the description, or actually, on the podcast that we release later today, there'll be a link in that description. That'll have a link to his podcast series that he has going on.
$740,000 question.
You Google that, you'll find it. Or if you type that into YouTube, you'll find it. Very, very cool. We're about to head out to our break, but before we do, we're announcing something pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. So it's something we've been working on, we've been talking about, and
we got more announcements next week that we're going to be dropping too, but this is the big one.
This is a big one. I'm excited to learn about our announcements next week, but
there's actually two official grants given and one payment.
I'll get that fixed. But anyways, we are excited to announce that we're going to be launching something called the Newsroom here at the Dakotan. Pretty cool. So what the Newsroom is going to be is it's going to be kind of like our community. We're going to be working on building a community of people that are interested in learning about what's going on in Minot, things like that. You'll have breaking news that'll be going in there. There's some stuff that we have like on good authority, but we don't have a strong enough source that we could actually write a full article, things like that. We're not talking about rumors or anything like that. We're not interested in spreading stuff, misinformation at all.
Like all kinds of different press releases that we get that we normally don't post on Facebook or on our websites. That'll be kind of thing that you'll see in there a lot too.
Yep. That'll be important. So, and then also there'll be some exclusive stuff that goes on in there, such as, there'll be live streams that we'll be doing that'll be exclusively in the community.
Might have early releases for some podcasts, things like that.
Also bringing on special guests just for that. And the way that the live streams can work in there is it may be more webinar format. If you've ever joined a webinar, that allows you to engage, ask questions, and actually like be a part of the conversation, not just typing in the comments, hoping that your comment gets read. You can actually be on the call in that live stream. So you potentially have a city council member or a whomever, and if they agree to do it, then they could be on a call like that, and you can actually ask them questions or whatever. Hopefully, increase engagement, things like that. That'd be good for the state and good for you and good for everybody. So
it's something we're working on building now, and Jonathan has, I believe, some links. You can go to the website and you can sign up and try to get on the mailing list to sign up for that today.
So basically, what's going to happen is right now, you can sign up. We're dropping the link in the comments right now. You can sign up for the Newsroom here, and then when we go and officially launch it, then you'll get notified, and you can sign up to actually join the Newsroom. But this will just get you on the list, so that way you can get updates about it as we are getting it ready. It's a lot of the way there. We're not putting a firm date on the launch, but it's not something that's going to come 6 months from now. It's something that will be in the next. It's weeks. Yeah. Days or weeks, not months. So there's the link in the description right now. Feel free to go sign up for that, learn more about it. We're excited about it. The landing page will have more of the features that we're going to be having with it. So pretty cool. I think it's a really great step. I will say, right, that at this point, it's all free. Yeah. There's no charge going on for it.
Nothing paid at this stage.
Eventually, there probably will be a charge, but there will always be a free portion of it that will be really good.
It'll always be available for anyone to sign up and get into, but for maybe, and again, this is all a work in progress, so don't take anything too close to heart, but for some of that exclusive stuff, maybe that's where it would be behind some kind of a payment system. But again, it's all a work in progress still, and we're wrapping into it.
On the landing page, it kind of describes stuff that we're kind of anticipating to stay free, just part of the Newsroom, and then we'll have an insider portion of the Newsroom, and that's the stuff that would potentially become behind a paywall. But that's pretty exciting. Again, I'll tell you this: as far as paywalls, I hate them, and so we're not trying to go. I think there's something that I've said from the moment we took over the Dakota, and I believe that news should be free. Mm-hmm. It's crazy that we have to pay at a lot of places in order just to read the news, and I get the changing environment of news and how it all works, and you want quality, and so there's this like line you get to walk. I still stand behind that. News should be free. Not interested in changing that up. But what we're trying to create here is a community portion. So if there's long, deep investigative pieces that are going on, things like that, which we have touched the edge of, stuff like that. Stuff like that might end up being behind a paywall or whatever. So,
like if you saw the article that I had last Friday come out about the mineral rights in Lake Sakakawea, something like that would be discussed in there. Things along those nature.
Yeah, and you guys will have a voice. You guys can engage. You guys can comment. You guys can tell us tips, ideas. It creates a place where you get to engage and you get to be part of the news that comes out.
You want someone to come on the podcast? Let us know in there. We'll have all the options at that stage.
It's gonna be great. So looking forward to it. Make sure you check it out. We're gonna go to a quick second break, and we'll be back to talk mayoral race.
In the demanding world of oil and gas, precision, safety, and efficiency are non-negotiable. Unmanned operator drone services revolutionizes how you monitor, inspect, and manage your operations. With cutting-edge technology and expert operators, we deliver real-time data, detailed reports, and actionable insights for our valuable clients. Why risk the safety of your team or waste precious time? Our drones access even the most challenging areas with ease, reducing downtime and enhancing safety across your sites. We take the guesswork out of your projects by offering LiDAR, mapping, and inspection services so that your projects stay safe, on budget, and on time. Unmanned operator drone services, where technology meets safety, precision, and efficiency. Contact us today to elevate your operations. Yes.
Oh,
Welcome back.
where'd we go? We
didn't go far.
No, we're here.
Didn't go far.
Thanks everyone for joining us again. As always, appreciate every single one of you that watches. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We had great engagement on Tuesday's video. Always love to see that. Much appreciated as always. And now we're going to dive into some updates on the mayor race.
Yes. So there was a little. I don't mean little as in size. Proverbially.
Actually, speaking of that, I have something I need to clear up really fast. In the clip with Matt, in rewatching that, I said something that comes off terribly. I called the group of producers like a little group or a small group. I feel like that came off. That sounded horrible in replay, and you mentioning that, I thought of that again, and I just had to say that. So Matt, if you're listening, I did not intend that to come off that way.
It was funny actually because you said it and didn't think a lot about it at the moment, and then I rewatched it, and you're what did you say? You called his group little, right?
Yeah.
And then you could tell after you say it, he like kind of like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like it's not a little group. We have a lot of people in there, and,
yes.
and he was just being funny. Kyla was being funny, and like, you got her little whatever.
Like
I was just using
everybody together, and it came off incredibly like almost derogatory, and I did not intend that, because what they're doing is fantastic.
It is.
It's amicable and commendable, and I do not did not intend it to sound that bad.
Yesterday there was a rally.
There was, yes.
No little or big about it. Just there was a rally.
There was a constitutional rally.
It was a constitutional rally.
It was held by Josiah Royce in Oak Park, and he had Sheriff Richard Mack with him of the Constitutional Sheriff's Movement, and I wasn't doing anything last night, so I swung in, and Jonathan, you stopped by for a little bit too. And what was your? Well, you weren't there as long, so we'll start with you. What was your?
Well, I didn't really get a chance to get a full take on it. Mm-hmm. Pledge of Allegiance were done.
Yes, it was.
So that's a positive.
Yeah.
There was a struggle to find a proper American flag for a moment,
but they had it. They got it.
They found
that was all set.
Yeah. So that's good. I mean, I didn't get to hear much of the speeches, so all of my thoughts would revolve around just venue and music,
which
a little bit of music. I didn't hear much of it, even that.
Fair. To be fair, so Josiah and his family are in a family band kind of thing, and they had some other people on it. They are fantastic, and they did a great job playing yesterday. Josiah plays the bass. I didn't know that, but then the speeches started.
Oh yeah,
and then so Richard Mack, first off, he was the keynote speaker. It was Josiah is influenced directly from him and his philosophies, his principles. So he wanted him to come up and kind of explain a little bit of what that is. He ended up telling some stories about how he had sued the Clinton administration in the 90s over the Brady Bill, which was a temporary ban on assault rifles. Talked about how he forced the EPA and Army Corps of Engineers effectively to allow the county he served to build a new bridge after a flood that took it out, when they were threatening potentially to arrest county commissioners that weren't complying.
Yeah.
But the most notable story that he told, and maybe this is me, I don't know, but he started off, congratulations, 50 years of marriage to him this year, but he told the story of how him and his wife met, and he was 21 and she was 16, and they got married at the end of her junior year of high school. And I wasn't necessarily expecting to hear that. And he, to be fair, he admitted, I shouldn't have married my wife. This shouldn't have probably happened, but it was love at first sight, something along those lines. And Yeah, something that in today's day and age that would be pretty frowned upon. I don't think that'd fly. But 50 years ago, early 70s, I guess, different ball game.
For sure.
But yeah, it was. There's that.
There's that. Yeah, interesting deal for sure.
Yeah, Richard Mack had some stories. Then Josiah comes up, and Josiah has. We've seen him speak for a few months consistently now. We know constitutional mayor. We know he wants to do his abolishing the Minot Police Department and reforming it into the Ward County Sheriff's Department. Those are some of his big platforms that he's been wanting to go off of from the start. However, he had a proposal or part of his speech in there that I haven't heard him say before. And when he said it, I had to think. I was like, whoa, wait a second here. So he was talking about a situation that occurred in Bismarck earlier this year where apparently CPS, Child Protective Services, took a child away from a parent right after birth because there was some issues with
I think medical. It was a home birth and stuff.
It was a home birth, and there was it was an interesting story for sure. And the child was given back to the parents after not too long a time, but that was that's where he started. And then he goes into talking about how if you have a constitutional sheriff here to enforce laws, they would never let something like that happen in the first place because they could form a posse and stop them from doing it.
Yeah.
And I just took that as a little odd. Not like it shouldn't probably be overly shocking.
Yeah.
But it's something that stands out in today's day and age because you hear a posse forming, and that's something straight out of the 1870s.
I mean, now they have that. It's called a police department or a sheriff's department.
Effectively.
So he has a posse. It's the sheriff's department.
Well, but he's talking about deputizing citizens and potentially, I would assume at that point, arming them, but who knows at that stage, which that just, I feel like could create.
I don't even see, if you had a sheriff's department, I don't even see the need for you getting to that point, though.
I don't necessarily see how that's the thing, because in theory, the sheriff his posse would just be the
people that work for the sheriff's department, because it's never been proposed that I've heard from them to get rid of the sheriff's department.
No, they want the sheriff to be the.
So it's more or less having people that are bought into the same vision as the sheriff then.
More so. And they're following him and
that are working there.
Because he is the law of the land. And here we go with the posses. I believe we have a clip loaded up even. Where
we do have a clip.
Where I took a video last night that I wasn't expecting to turn out well, and it turned out a lot better than I anticipated. So we got a video and...
Hey, producer. Roll the clip.
Hey. The fortunate thing is, she knew who to call. She knew somebody that could help. And then that somebody knew other people. They're well connected. What happens to the people that are maybe new in town and don't know who's plugged in to legislators and people of influence? You know, when people say, I'm not going to let this happen, and they might say back to you like, okay, you and what army? Well, they have an army. They can touch their radio, and they got a whole bunch of more guys with guns that come and back them up. Where is your army? Who's your army? That's why we need a constitutional sheriff who can form a posse. It's not just an old Western tale. The laws still apply the same today. And if we had a constitutional sheriff, a guy like Richard Mack here, that's somebody you could call to say, CPS wants to take my baby, and there's not a chance that he's going to let that happen over his dead body. And he's got other people to call. He's got a posse to form. That's the law enforcement that I want in Minot.
So yeah, that was just a little snippet of that part. That was the posse part, effectively. Yeah. Like again, he was talking about the CPS incident, and then he transitioned into saying how if you had a constitutional sheriff who was willing to effectively stand in the way of a federal agency against the people, that would be the best move in that situation. And again, the situation is pretty murky, and it sounds like it wasn't well done by any means, but when you start generalizing this into bigger situations, it can really create an interesting scenario.
Yeah, it can. Well, one thing you got to say is that he put a lot of work into the last week of his campaign.
Undoubtedly.
And so that was back-to-back events that he had going on there. Mm-hmm. And that's leading us into election day on Tuesday.
Yep, we're almost there. Tuesday's here. Before we jump into a little bit of assessment there, speaking of things, I know tonight at 7, I think, there's a People's Town Hall. I believe that it's at the Carnegie Center here in town. It's hosted by Trigby Hammer. Yeah. I'll try to be there as well. I don't guarantee it, but we'll see how that plays out.
I can say with confidence I won't be.
Yeah, you're going camping.
There's also ribbon cutting at the Broadway Circle today.
That's today. I think that's like in an hour or something.
It's at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Okay.
This afternoon. Yeah. So that's interesting to see that project finally
come to fruition. Get the bow on top effectively. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the ribbon cut.
Exactly.
So
I love to see it.
For sure. Mayoral race is coming down to the wire. Yep. We're here.
We're both going to have an article coming out in the next few days, assessing pretty much where the race stands.
Breaking it down.
Yeah, and mine will be out tomorrow. I think
you know what's interesting.
What's that?
And this is going to be a hot take, I guess. Okay.
I'm ready.
So some people love this. Some people. I feel like as it's come down to the wire, I've had a lot of feelings throughout this race. At times, I felt like there was individuals that was definitely in the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Blah blah blah, right? I feel like it's all tightening up right now.
Feels that
and
way.
It could just be because we're coming down to the end, but it feels like everything is kind of tightening up, and it is truly a toss up. And
like it's a roll of the dice, and whoever's number wins, that's who's going to win.
And I feel like it's a roll of the dice with all four candidates.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Like I have no idea how many people are going to get out and vote. Obviously, everyone get out and vote next Tuesday, 7 to 7 auditorium.
Or today.
Or today. You can go to the Ward County Administration Building. You can get that absentee ballot. You can fill it out there, drop it off. Don't even take it home and mail it. So, plus side there. However, I very much agree with your point. I feel like this is an incredibly close race. Anyone can take it at this point. I honestly don't know if there even is a front runner at this point.
Yeah, I don't know that there is. So it's going to be interesting as it comes into the final days. I know that there's a Get Out the Vote campaign that's going to be going on Broadway the next couple of days. Really, just come on, Minot. Let's show up for this.
Yeah.
Let's show up for this. Let's make sure that it's interesting because it's the interim. You get to like test out the candidate.
Yeah.
So 10 months. But
10 months, and then you get to decide if they're the one to lead us for the rest of this decade or not.
Right. And not interested in, hearing about how frustrated we are with the mayor if you didn't get out and vote.
Yeah.
This one, I feel like there's been plenty of attention drawn to this race.
Yeah,
should not have been a surprise.
This has been, in my lifetime, for sure, the most contentious, and probably, I'm in the thick of it, so take it with a grain of salt, but feels like the most publicized mayor race that we've had in Minot, with maybe the exception of 2018.
Definitely the most contentious.
But for sure the most contentious.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly. And
contentious.
The people I've talked to as well that go back a lot further than I do, it's I would argue this is the most contentious race in possibly even Minot's history, but that might be a hot take in and of itself.
To be fair, it probably had the best debate ever.
Yeah, I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
The one I'll give a chance to, I think I've mentioned this before, 1982, Chet Wrighton lost by 13 votes to Thomas Lee, who Thomas Lee then resigned in 1984, where Chet Wrighton won the remainder 2 years of that term, came back into office. But outside of that, I don't know if there's going to be a race that's to this level.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And again, we had the great debate here. So if you are still undecided and you don't know, make sure you check out the YouTube channel from our YouTube channel, The Dakotan. You can check out the debate we hosted last June, see what your thoughts are on the candidates. We have two versions of it, the live one, and we also did an updated one where the audio sounds a little better.
Yeah, depending on your device, it sounds better.
Yeah.
And also you can go and check out interviews with every single candidate. Know that there's also other, which is great, other media news companies around town are putting out articles on each candidate as well.
Everyone's kind of dropping something this week
at this point, but we do have interviews that we did a month and a half ago with every single candidate, long form interviews, 45 minutes to an hour each one, so you really get to know them. I would encourage you all to check those out. There's some news at the national level that was just really interesting. Typically we don't do much national news anymore, but
there's always some fun stuff to touch on once in a while.
This one seemed really interesting. There's a idea, a bill that Josh Hawley has proposed to ban stock trading in Congress.
Yeah. I think this is something that should have happened decades ago. I don't know if it'll actually end up getting passed and going through. That'll be the interesting thing to see who votes yes or no on it. I feel like it should be political suicide if you vote against that, but you never know.
But they're definitely voting against it. So I'm going to mention a name, and do not get mad at me about this name because I do not know her, do not know don't know much about her at all. But Anna Mattson went and created a thread on X that kind of has a bunch of video clips of how this all goes down. So I don't know if she's left or if she's right.
But she was out there posting these.
But she was, yeah. So it's just a person that I know of. All right. So she has this deal, and he goes in and introduces this bill that would go, like already mentioned, it would ban the stock trading. So you'd no longer be able to buy any of X. And he goes and he ties it back to during COVID. He's like, while insider trading is illegal, what the information we get here is not considered insider trading. So we'll get a brief on COVID. And then all of a sudden, there's a bunch of legislators that will begin to go and sell off stock or buy stock based off of that.
Those briefings that they're getting.
Because they get the information before the American people get. And it's like that, while it's not insider trading, is information that you're able to make money off of.
That's privileged information.
Yeah, it is, that not everybody else gets. So he says, if you go and, if we want to be fair, we should ban stock trading. And somebody makes the remark, he's like, what you're basically trying to do is get rid of career politicians. Wow. Isn't that crazy though?
It's unfortunate that that's what it turns into in the end. But so often you see those people that have been there for decades and decades, lo and behold, their stock portfolios are pretty exorbitant.
Dude, I can't even, this actually frustrates me. Like, you can probably see in my eyes right now, because that's so messed up.
Yeah.
That literally people are like, if I can get that, there's a thought somewhere, because this guy voiced it.
Maybe it doesn't start there, but it comes at some point.
If I get to Congress, I can get rich because of the inside information.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Right. It's the idea that's not just, I don't know. It's there. I get that part. You know it's there.
But to actually hear it verbalized.
To hear it said, you get rid of career politicians if you do that. That's the thing that's keeping you in there.
Yeah. Of all things.
There's no serving in your heart at all. No, it's just simply about that.
No doubt.
That's what was said.
You get to be in the power role and you get to make your money out of it.
That's crazy.
There's no want to actually be in the public service anymore, or at least in that.
Right. And you can't speak for everybody with that comment, but that was such a crazy comment to me.
Yeah.
What's crazy is the bill, though, made it out of committee.
Yeah. So it's actually going to get
a lot of Republicans were against it.
Of course.
And Hawley was, in his remarks, said this is something that affects both sides of the aisle. He's like, this is not a one side of the aisle issue
here. It should be a bipartisan thing.
Yeah, and this
should be something that if you vote no on it, it should go back to your district and it should look horrible.
Yeah, but not many Republicans were voting for it.
Of course they're not. They got to go make the money off it, dude.
Yeah. So, both sides got to make the money off of it.
Of course, everyone does. They all have to. It feels like that's what they want.
I mean, it's called the Pelosi tracker for a reason, right?
Exactly. I think you did something with it.
Dude, one time I did. Somebody was like, Pelosi's making this money or making this move. And I was like, all right, fine. I'll just buy one stock of whatever she bought. I did. And dude, that has made me it quadrupled.
That's incredible.
It quadrupled within a year.
That's an incredible return.
So some of them, and honestly, Rand Paul was against it. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, Rand Paul, why are you against it? Because that doesn't make sense. This is something that Rand Paul should be all about. He's like, I think it's a great bill. Or if this is a great bill, if this is the greatest thing since sliced bread and it's really necessary, it should apply to Donald Trump. But the fact that they don't want it to apply to Donald Trump means that it's a really crummy bill. So basically his point is it's got to apply to the executive office as well, JD Vance and Trump. And that's fine. Okay, sure. I get that. But, all right, I'm not advocating against it. I'm not advocating against that principle. But I think that's also something to just, they know that would be even harder to get that done. Yeah. And so it's like, I can hide behind this. And then if it does, whatever. And then if it doesn't, that's what that felt like to me.
Yeah. Could just be a cover.
Yeah, it felt like it was half of a cover to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty interesting.
It's a trip, guy. I don't know, man. I can't be on board with them being able to trade. I don't like that they can purchase stocks, period, up there. I feel like that's something that's sketchy in and of its own.
Here you go. According to Anna Matson, the bill ended up passing committee and it's on its way to the Senate floor. Hawley was the only Republican yes vote.
Well, that's an interest. Of all people, Josh Hawley to be the one to...
But he doesn't own any stocks.
Of course not. Okay. It's perfect.
Yep.
Also,
that is what is claimed.
Yes. There's some probably pretty fair enough easy workarounds for this thing. Like, let's be honest, if what happens if their brother's out here buying the stocks and they're giving the information to them? Obviously, I think there should be a way to get that involved in the bill where you can't do that, but I feel like that's going to be something that's so hard to police.
Right.
But in general, I would love to see this happen, but who knows if it'll get out of the Senate floor, and then it'll have to get through the House, and then it'll have to get signed in.
Murray, we have not talked about the Benson County law enforcement stuff. I'm not much aware about it, but we can look into it.
No, that's like the cop that got arrested because he was hiding evidence and stuff for tampering with evidence. Yeah, I saw a little bit about that. That was nuts. It was like out in, I think he got arrested in like Grand Forks, but he's from like the Devil's Lake area or something. Like that was, I did see a little bit about that big bearded guy. Yeah, that was a wild story to come out. I think at the end of last week or beginning of this week. That was I have not looked into it in depth. Don't know necessarily a lot of the specifics about it, but definitely did see that.
He's under investigation by the North Dakota Attorney General's Office for misconduct. Benson County prosecutor asked Governor Kelly Armstrong nearly 2 months ago to remove Road from office. Outlined a series of criminal allegations against Road. Most incidents involve Road's former chief deputy, Travis Carlson, whom Road hired despite Carlson having previously lost his peace officer license. Video shows Carlson kneeling on the back of a 14-year-old boy during a traffic stop on the Spirit Lake Reservation in 2024. Wing said Road never provided a report explaining Carlson's use of force on the boy, who is not under arrest. Road also is accused of failing to provide a burglary report to the county prosecutor. Wing further accused Road of criminal conspiracy for supporting Carlson and making several illegal arrests of tribal members on the Spirit Lake Reservation. And the article goes on. That's on the Inform. Doesn't sound great at all.
No, that's all. And so it
hopefully
they get that resolved in the right way. Because
according to Marie, there's more resignations that are coming. Yeah. So that's something that we can look at. Something else Holly was working on, though.
This one. I don't like this one.
You don't like this one?
No.
Oh, yeah. This is a good one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Holly is going for Holly must be up for re-election because
right.
These both are stuff that people would love. And that was one thing he pointed out in his deal was 86% of the people feel like there's insider trading that goes on in Congress. And so he's like, we got to fix this.
Yeah. That's a perception thing you got to address.
Yep. All right. So the next one was Holly and a tariff rebate.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. So
with the tariff payments starting to come in now that summer's rolling in, Josh Hawley proposed to, instead of put those tariffs into the federal government and maybe pay off the debt or put into revenue, put into revenue, so taxes could be lowered or something.
This is kind of lowering taxes in a roundabout way.
What's he doing?
Well, wants to see Holly introduced a bill that provide families up to $600 per adult and child, or for a family of four, a total of $2,400. The tariff rebate.
Wow.
Yeah.
$600.
Well, for you, $600. For me, it's $2,400.
That's true. You got two kiddos. Still, $2,500. That's fantastic. If it was $6,000, a whole different ball game. I'm just saying, this is such a minimal thing. Why even do it? Put it into the money rate.
Whoa, dude, you're going with a hot take right now. This is a hot take
probably,
right now. Probably,
but I don't. Like, you want my feeling on it? You're getting.
I'm hearing it. Yeah.
Like it was the same with the COVID checks. It was all a ploy. It was just to get people to feel good because everybody wasn't working, so they're trying to send people money to pay for stuff. But what was that? Like $600-800, something like that. Like there was a couple different. There was a couple different ones I know. Yeah. But like
those were decent checks, man.
And now guess what? We got $36 trillion in debt. So instead of working towards that, getting that resolved.
See, this part I agree with.
Yeah, getting that resolved.
But
we're just gonna
saying $600 per per dependent in your house, I think is a hot take. Is not enough is a hot take.
Maybe it's not, but I feel like maybe it is. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But I feel in general this is something that isn't. It's a political ploy to build capital for them and build good favor to get because you're handing out free money.
It's always a good deal.
I can't.
So 150 billion collected so far in 2025 from tariff revenue. 150 billion.
150 billion. Okay.
That's according to this Fox Business. So obviously Trump floated the idea of a little rebate before, but now Hawley's actually like working on this. And of course they make it political, aiming at Biden and everything as well. But then some are saying that would increase inflation. If we got a rebate back, then that would increase inflation.
That's what happened 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was a rebate
I don't think it hurt. It helped anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
When you're printing money out just to hand out.
I mean,
that's
if they're literally using the money that's coming in, then it's not.
It's a little different. I will say that. It's a different. The
completely
money's
different
coming from a different place.
Yeah, and it wasn't honestly like if you were to actually go down that road, you would be hard to convince. It'd be hard to convince me that the problem with the whole deal was the checks that went out to the people. That was the inflation deal. When you're going in giving out the PPP loans, when you're going out and doing like a bunch of other things that were going on, like there was a lot more money given out in other areas.
Oh, I agree. Now, I'm not saying that was the cause of inflation.
Yeah.
I think if anything, COVID in general was the bigger.
COVID
cause.
was in general, and there was huge relief packages that were being done,
Yes.
and a very small amount of that was actually going to the people.
Yes, trillions of dollars in relief packages, and the people got few thousand total.
Right, just to make it feel good.
Yeah.
So
I can't support it. I say just pay down the debt, lower taxes.
So
take a little bit off the income tax.
I agree with you on that one. I think that it should not happen. I think it should just go pay down the debt, because that's kind of like the part of the reason why we were doing this in the first place. Mm-hmm. So it's like say you get a part-time job because you have debt, mm-hmm. right? You got $20K in debt and you're trying to get this taken care of. So you go get a part-time job and you're like, all right, I'm going to put the money that I make from this and then you're like, wait a minute, I got $1,000 now.
I got some money in the bank account.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go out to eat, and I'm going to go do this, and I'm going to do that. And then you go and you put a $200 down on the debt that you had. Well, mm-hmm. dude, that's going to take you so much longer. You're going to have that taken care of in 20 months. Now it's going to take you like 20 years.
Yeah. Now
literally, but
you
it's going to take you forever.
Yeah, because you're going to get hosed with interest payments, and now it's just going to continue on.
That's what we're talking about right here.
Yeah.
We got this, and it's pennies compared to our debt. $150 billion is not that much.
No,
it still doesn't probably even balance our budget. It doesn't balance our budget.
Because we're trillions in the deficit.
Yeah. It doesn't even cover our debt payment each year.
No.
But hey.
Instead of working towards a goal, we'll just hand people out some money so Hawley can feel good, or people can like Hawley again. And whoever
well, I mean,
and then whoever votes against it, you can say that they're not helping the American people.
Yeah. Hawley's introducing that one, but that one was from Trump. Let's be real.
Probably.
It was. He said he was like, we're talking about.
I know he mentioned.
Yeah.
I know he mentioned it prior.
So then Hawley's actually just making, because Trump can't introduce legislation, right?
Yeah.
So Hawley's just making it come to fruition. But it's still Hawley's name on it. So what a guy. Marie, how about the Minot Council trying to find a way to go around the 3% cap? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on Tuesday. It's pretty incredible, and we'll be talking more about that.
Yeah, coming up here, especially after the city council meeting on, I think, the 18th of August.
When the council president presents
the budget. Yep.
Yeah, maybe that one will be.
This might end up, depending on what ends up going on forward. Obviously, right now, I don't think anyone at the state level is going to do anything with preliminary budgets, but the longer it goes on, if something doesn't end up necessarily changing drastically in that regard, there's a possibility that you could see someone saying something. Who knows if, again, I trust that the legality of this is probably fair at this point. The intention of the whole thing is a different ballgame. We talked about that. But yeah, I think at this stage, it's probably okay, but again, expect it to go down with the couple later stages of the budget process that we're going to see.
Yeah, I would anticipate that to go down, but still, the idea of it is kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
just shows that the hamstringing that cap can end up putting on to municipalities.
For sure. Throughout North Dakota. Well, it's been a good show.
Gosh, it's been fun, my guy. Ready for the weekend.
Yeah, that
You're gonna
weekend's
have fun,
gonna be good.
but make sure to check out the articles we got coming out in the rest of this week. It's gonna be good reads there.
Yep, for sure. Kyler's gonna have his out first. I'll have mine out second. Mine will probably come out Saturday or Sunday.
I think maybe I'm over promising here, but I think we're gonna include our predictions in those articles too. Are you?
Yeah,
Are
Kyler,
you?
sounds like Kyler is.
I might. I'm thinking about it, and I haven't finished it yet, but I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. Good for Kyler. So, and then on Tuesday, we're going to be going live at 9 a.m. And then we're going to also be going live at like 6:30 p.m.
Probably, yeah.
To cover election results as they are announced. Probably one block.
We're going to talk to a few different people around the city that we've had on the show before. We're going to get some fun people coming in. Probably not in person. We'll have them Zoom into us. We'll talk about the race, talk about the run up to the election day, what they think the outcome's going to look like, because we're going to do some exit polling on the day of too.
And we'll do some man on the street stuff at the polls as well.
Yep.
So you're going to hear firsthand what people are thinking about this election.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting.
So that first 30 minutes is going to be action packed.
Yeah. Tuesday is going to be.
I think here. Oh yeah. And then also, oh man, that night we're going to be showing you videos of Kyler getting a pie in the face and me getting dumped with water.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Stupid.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. It's going to be.
Oh
great.
yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I guess watching will be fun.
Yeah. I'm going to enjoy dumping water on you.
Yeah.
Ice water too. The ice bucket challenge.
Yeah. And it hasn't been hot. It's been cold for like 2 weeks.
We'll try to find a day coming up where it's going to be nice then.
You can't. They're all not good.
Best case will be humid.
So then you just never dry. Yeah. All right, but that gonna be some good stuff. Yep. Looking forward to it.
Make sure you check out the newsroom too.
Yep.
Sign up for that. That's a big one.
Sounds good.
Excited for that in the future.
Thank you for watching this episode, and we'll catch you next time.
See you Tuesday.
Be sure to like and subscribe. Join the Dakotan community. Thanks for watching.